Okay, so so I'm just going to go through the steps to show you how to draw a wall head detail with the detail you can see here, but I'll maybe do a variation on that with a penetration through the ceiling, you can see here, for acoustic separation. So we're focusing on drawing for different scales based on a section I've drawn previously, which is for a larger scale. Yep, sure. Yeah. It varies. It varies. So that's a good thing to think about, though. You can find all of those things in the Chippendale catalogue. Yeah. Yeah. No, normally wouldn't be. Normally, stud frame petitions are much more typical for interior walls. Yeah. Oh, yeah, a lot, yeah. So I've done stud walls that had an overall thickness of 57 mil in the end. Yeah. Yeah, look, that wasn't for, it was a pretty, well, a petition that didn't need to give a lot of separation, and we just need to make it as thin as absolutely possible, and it wasn't structural, just self-supporting, and so there is a profile that's for that. It was basically the back of the pantry between that and something else, and the panels, it was a solid panel lining, not just plasterboard, so it was still fairly solid, and yep, so you can do it like yep, yep. Oh, of course, that's again normal for bathrooms. You just need to line one side with a waterproofing material, so fibre cement, or there are wet area materials that Chippendale and companies like that sell that are basically just like a plasterboard sheet, but for wet areas. And yep, so that's standard. This is your standard detail for interiors. Of course, yep, yep. Less separation, and they're structurally pretty flimsy. Oh, well, there's no right or wrong, but there are definitely guidelines, or there are, sorry, definitely limits as well. But if you look through the catalogue here, it does have a section where it tells you how to work out the thickness that you should have. I've forgotten where it is, but it's in here somewhere. It's in the beginning, I think, somewhere. So fire rating as well is something that you need to think about, and the thickness of the wall obviously affects the fire rating, but that's along with any other insulation and other materials you use for fire rating. So yeah, so all those things go into it. Acoustics, like I was saying, but then also the structure, because it may be structurally adequate to support itself, but I probably told you I've actually been to some of those early spec houses built out in some of the more distant suburbs, and the walls were literally wobbling when you, even if you grab like a door jamb, you could sometimes move the wall a few centimetres either way because the stud work was so flimsy and thin. So,
what does that mean?
oh, just built from a standard specification, project homes, yeah. They're a lot better now. So, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So for standard residential, when we just talk about the detail, whether the wall protrudes up through the ceiling,
Yeah.
or whether the ceiling kind of sits on top of the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
For a normal residential, what would that detail be?
Well, you'd probably want acoustic separation between most residential spaces because they're going to be, say, living spaces or sleeping spaces, and then yeah, you need that separation for obvious reasons. So, yep. So normally you'd use this sort of detail. The detail at the top there is typically what you would have had in the past, maybe in commercial.
So the ceiling would still stick flush to the top of the stud wall in residential application.
Like this one, you mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so you have a head, and yeah. Otherwise, well, not always, because sometimes you need the ceiling structure to be part of the roof structure, or do you have a cord that runs across? Yeah. But then there are other ways of getting that acoustic separation with, but yeah, yeah. So yeah, so there are other things that can affect it, but yeah, that definitely gives you more separation. So, well, you can probably tell already that there's not a lot of drawing involved. It's really just a matter of getting a lot of parallel lines, usually, and then we don't. These here are the clips for ceiling tiles, which I don't have, so I didn't draw that. It's just this area, and so we've got a stud, which we don't know the size for, but I've assumed a size already. So you can see here I've got the lines already coming up for my wall, and I've made them 70mm apart, the inside lines. Yeah. So just between these two lines is 70mm. And then I've just put the 10mm lining either side. Exactly, yeah. So altogether it's 90mm across. So, just so it's easy for you to see, I'm going to draw the stud profile over to the right. And as you can imagine, this is something that you'll use repeatedly. So I'm going to show you how to make it into a block afterwards as well. Okay, so I've got there, you can see a layer already made called A Wall Stud Metal. I'll just show you the settings for that. So just open up the layer manager and you can see there it is, well, the colour's up to you, it doesn't really matter. But then I've made the line weight 0.35. And so there are 100 ways you could draw this. I'm just going to show you one way that might include a few shortcuts for you. So I'm going to go and draw a rectangle, clicking a start point, clicking empty space here, and then I want that to be 70mm across, and then comma 40mm the other direction, and then enter. 70 by 40, and then I'm going to offset 3mm, and so select my rectangle and just click inside. That could even be too thick. I'm just trying to get something that'll show up, so I'm just going to quickly change to another sheet. You don't need to do this, but I just want to see at 1 to 5 what those lines will look like. Yeah, okay, so here you can see those lines, and I just want to see there how it's going to look when it's at the scale it will be on our sheet. So that's what it will look like. So in other words, the lines will be reading as one line, those two lines. So now I'm going to explode. So I'll select both of the rectangles, and I'm going to explode both of them, just clicking on the explode button. And I'm going to delete the inside bottom line, go to extend, enter, and click on the two vertical lines, and then hold down shift and click on the line in between. So I've done trim and extend at the same time with that shift option to switch between them. And so I just want to put a little curve here. It's just a visual thing to remind you it's a stud profile. So using fillet, I'll just click the radius tool or radius option and type in 5, enter, And so I'm just going to choose the the outside edge first, and then and then choose the top line. Oh, R enter. But, you need to do F enter first, and then R enter. So now I can just press enter to repeat the fillet, and choose the other side. See if one is there. And then I need to do fillet again, and then set the radius to 2 mil to fillet the inside lines. So I'll make that into a block, and then I might give you a minute to make sure that's all done, and I'll do a new video for the next part. So I'll just quickly make that into a block, select all of the lines, and then I'll click on the Make Block button in the block panel on the Home tab. Create, and I'm going to call it. So I just have to check my names because I've already made one. So I'm going to call it Stud. Yep, Stud. Profile. Upside down? No. Top. And so the important thing here is that you remember to pick a base point. So I'm going to click Pick Point, and then just pick a point on that on the corner. So I'll just zoom in to show you this. The corner that would be there if these lines joined where it curves. And I've just used tracking to pick that point up.
So it's selecting base point or?
Yeah, pick point, and then you can choose that point. So click the pick point button under base point.
It's grey
Uh,
art.
yeah. So just B enter should bring it up. Have you got anything? Oh, I'll have a look in 2 seconds. So, so here I'm just going to choose this delete option. After I've chosen the base point, click OK, and the lines all disappear. But now I can go to Insert, and it will be in the list here. There it is at the bottom. Stud Profile top, and then I can just click this point to insert it. I'll give you a minute to try that, and then I'll come back and do another video on mostly on text.